Okay, I wanted to go over the tendons of the ankle, and I was looking back through my videos, and my first video was how to sculpt the foot, and I realized that was over 2 years ago, May 2020. So, I've got a pretty substantial archive now of the human body in clay demos, but I realized that I did this foot in isolation, so the tendons expressed here weren't really connected to the lower leg. And now that I'm doing the lower leg muscles, I think it'd be a good opportunity to show how those tendons connect to the foot and explain their function. So in the back you have what's perhaps most known, and that's the Achilles heel, or Achilles tendon, I should call it. I think it might technically be called the tendon of the calcaneus, which is the heel bone. But, we all remember the mythological story of Achilles being dipped in the river. His mother held him by that tendon. And I guess the story goes that was his one weak spot, was where she was holding him. And I don't really know mythology, but it's actually true in real life too, that this tendon, let's say in battle, back when soldiers had to use swords and axes and knives, they would actually have to think about where to cut someone to immobilize them. And indeed, if you cut that, then you could no longer use your foot. You couldn't walk anymore. So a lot of medieval armor would actually have a metal protector there, a guard, to protect that Achilles heel. So that one's pretty obvious. It's going from your femur down to your heel bone, and it would be the one that lets you point your foot, let's say. Okay, so when that contracts, it'll point your foot down. And then you come over to the side. We already went through these in the last video, but you have gastrocnemius, soleus, and here this is the peroneus muscle. I'll turn the houdon man there for you too. Peroneus, the way I remember peroneus is, it's this very long, maybe I'll step over here. It's a very long, kind of feather-shaped muscle, and it's going to go from your head of the fibula, pretty much vertically, and then it's going to go behind your outer malleolus, which is the other end of the fibula, which is your lateral ankle. So you can see this is the bone, and then behind the bone you have a tendon, and that tendon is peroneus. From the peroneus, there's two peroneus muscles. There's peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. So you'll actually see two tendons here, and they're going to this fifth metatarsal. So coming off the bottom of the ankle, going diagonally forward, you'll see that sharp little tendon there going to the back of this fifth metatarsal. Okay, so I hope that shows up, that this feather-like muscle is going south, and then it's jogging in to grab onto this bone. Okay, so that's the connection there. Remember, you have your biceps femoris attaching to the fibula as well, and then you'll have a little space between the head of the fibula and your IT band, the fascia lata. Now, kind of in between the head of the fibula and the IT band, these are two tendons. The fibula is not a tendon, but These are two landmarks, let's say. In between there, you'll see a more triangular muscle group. And these will be extensor digitorum longus. Okay, so traveling from the tibia and then wrapping to the front, you will get the extensors of the toes. Anytime it says digitorum, it's talking about digits, and digits are toes. So it's this ramp of tendons that's on top of the foot. They're going to go, one to each toe. So you'll actually see those when you extend your toes. Extensor means extension. You'll see those 5 tendons coming down like that. Okay, so this, again, I like my little pneumatic device. If this is peroneus, this is P. If this is extensor digitorum, this is E. And then if this, in the front, this is the one everyone probably knows, tibialis anterior. It's a much bigger one. This is T for tibia. So PET, PET. So everything in front of the soleus, this is the border of the soleus. Everything in front of that is PET. So tibialis anterior, this one's a little tricky. It's kind of like roots of a tree, or when you study the muscles of the neck, you have a lot of tendons, going from the head to the shoulders. Here we have tendons coming from the knee down to the foot, and they're kind of like roots of a tree, but they all go in different directions. So, the Achilles heel is kind of straight down. Peroneus goes straight down, but then it jogs forward. Extensor digitorum longus, the extensors of the toes, they kind of wrap around and then create this nice ramp going to the toes. So that one kind of flattens out. Now, tibialis anterior doesn't go to the top of the foot. It actually goes to the inner arch. So you have to get this is really vital. You have to get this difference, that this tendon is sneaking down into the arch. And I think it goes to the first metatarsal, the back of the first metatarsal. So this tendon, I'll kind of make it obvious. It's like a little strap like the others, but you have to show that it's sneaking into the arch and not going onto the top of the foot. So a lot of times you'll see a little triangulation here, a little triangular, let's say, depression right to the medial of that tibialis anterior tendon. And tibialis itself is traveling sort of diagonally from the side of the leg to the inside of the leg. It kind of starts on the lateral, it ends up on the medial. So it's important with these tendons to think where they start, where they go. Here's our little trio again. Gastrocnemius, soleus, and this one is flexor digitorum longus. Whoops. So very similar name to extensor digitorum longus, but this would be the flexors of the toes, the muscle that brings the toes back. Extensor would bring the toes out, would extend them. So just think flex. When you flex, you're closing your hand. When you extend, you're opening your hand. Flexors are usually a little bit stronger, at least on the hand. I'm not sure about the foot, but they're different. And the name of the muscles always explain kind of the function. And there's some smaller little tendons that I could mention, but I think it's good to take this kind of in baby steps, and those would be the major ones. So we have Achilles in the back, We have peroneus, brevis, and longus on the side, hooking behind the ankle bone. Then you have extensor digitorum, which is this longer triangular passage going to the top of the foot. And they have to go to the top of the toes to extend them, to pull them up. And then finally, you gotta love tibialis anterior, sneaking from the outside to the inside. Make sure your arch is always very evident.